All right, welcome back to Sports Hyped, where we don't just cover the NFL, we dive in headfirst, exploring every angle, every statistic, and every untold story that's shaping this season. And you all know what we're talking about today, the rising stars of the 2024 NFL season. Now, if you're a die-hard NFL fan like us, you know these names already. You've seen the flashes of brilliance, the game-changing moments. But what if I told you there's more to these players than just raw stats? What if I told you that each one of them is quietly rewriting the narrative of their teams, and maybe even the league itself? Take Jayden Daniels, the young quarterback who's turning heads in Washington. He's calm under pressure, accurate in the pocket, and let's be real, he's showing poise that's rare even among the league's best veterans. This guy isn't just here to play, he's here to win. But do we really understand how he's doing it? Today, we're breaking down his game, his background, his strategy, everything that's making him one of the most talked about rookies this season. And Daniels is just one piece of the puzzle. We're talking playmakers, we're talking leaders, we're talking rising stars who are stepping up and leaving a mark in their rookie season. Players who aren't just surviving the NFL's intensity, but thriving in it. And if we're being honest, some of these guys, they're already starting to look like the faces of the league's future. From clutch touchdown passes to record-breaking rushing yards, we'll cover it all. We're diving into the numbers, the game footage, and yes, even the locker room buzz. Because if you're here, you're not just a casual fan, you're one of us. And that means you're looking for details, for commentary that goes deeper than the box score. First up, Jayden Daniels. Let's start with the quarterback who's showing us what it means to be clutch. This kid is rewriting the rules, and trust me, he's just getting started. All right, let's get into it. Jayden Daniels. This kid hasn't even finished his first season, and already he's proving he's got the stuff legends are made of. We're talking about a guy who's stepping into a tough position with the Washington Commanders and making it look like he's been here for years. So, here's where Daniels stands as of early November. 71.5% completion rate, 1945 passing yards, and 9 touchdowns. If you're thinking, wait a minute, that's pretty tight, you're absolutely right. For a rookie, those numbers are almost unheard of. But let's move past the stats and get into the meat of his game. Take that October 22nd showdown with the Bears, for example. It's a critical fourth quarter, the Commanders need a play, and Daniels is calm, collected, he rolls back, reads the defense, and then, boom, a 50-yard Hail Mary right into the end zone. Game over, Commanders win. That's not just a good play, that's the kind of clutch performance we see from the league's best QBs. And Daniels, he's doing it in his rookie season. Now, if you're a true fan, you know that a Hail Mary isn't just about arm strength. It's timing, precision, reading the defense, knowing your receiver's pace, and Daniels pulled it off seamlessly. What we're seeing from him isn't luck or flashes of brilliance. We're seeing fundamentals, game IQ, and a calm that's turning heads in Washington. Let's look at Daniels side by side with other rookies this season. His accuracy, top tier. His decision-making, almost veteran level. And here's something interesting. His passer rating is sitting comfortably above 100, putting him in an elite bracket for newcomers. You don't see that kind of control from most rookies. This guy, he's calculated, he's measured, and he's clearly done his homework. So, where does that calm under pressure come from? Let's rewind to his time at Arizona State. Even back then, Daniels was a player who stood out, not just because of his stats, but because he was the guy who wanted the ball in clutch moments. His numbers at ASU weren't just good, they were exceptional. Over 6,000 passing yards and over 1,200 rushing yards, all with a knack for game-winning plays. His college coach put it best when he said, Jayden doesn't just play the game, he studies it. He's the guy who shows up early, stays late, and puts in the work. And that's exactly what we're seeing with the Commanders. This isn't a player who's just here for the season. This is a quarterback who's here to leave a legacy. And now, with Washington, he's doing exactly that. We're seeing a guy who's in tune with his receivers, who can read defenses on the fly, and who knows exactly when to take the risks and when to play it safe. And the fans? They're already on board. Social media is buzzing with posts about Daniels as the Commanders' future franchise quarterback. But here's the real question for those in the know. Will he be able to sustain this level of play as defenses start figuring him out? Or is this the start of a new era in Washington? If he keeps up this pace, Daniels could end the season with over 4,000 passing yards and close to 25 touchdowns. That's big. It's franchise quarterback big? And with the way he's playing, we might just be looking at one of the most promising quarterbacks Washington has seen in years. But Jayden Daniels isn't the only rookie stepping up this season. Next, we're diving into the story of another breakout star, Shedeur Sanders. This kid's got a unique style, a powerful arm, and let's just say, he's got some big shoes to fill. Trust me, his story is just as captivating. All right, next up, we're talking about a player who's been on everyone's radar since day one this season, Shedeur Sanders. Now, if you're as plugged into the game as we are, you know Sanders isn't just another rookie. This guy came into the league with big expectations and even bigger shoes to fill. But what makes Shedeur stand out isn't just his name. It's the way he's redefining what we expect from a rookie quarterback. Of course, Having Deion Sanders as your dad doesn't hurt. But if you think Shedeur's riding on that legacy alone, think again. This guy is creating his own path in the NFL. He's got the skill, the mental game, and a focus that's turning heads in Washington and beyond. So, let's get into the numbers as of early December. Shedeur's sitting at a 74.9% completion rate with 2,882 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. And if you're looking at his passer rating, he's posting figures that you'd expect from a seasoned QB, not a rookie. But stats aside, let's talk about how he's getting it done. Now, if you're really into the X's and O's, you know this play isn't just about arm strength. It's timing, it's anticipation, and it's trust in his receivers. Sanders isn't just throwing darts. He's reading the defense, knowing exactly when to take a shot, and making the right call under pressure. This kid, he's got football IQ beyond his years. But this journey didn't start here. Shedeur's time at Jackson State wasn't just about putting up stats. It was about learning the game, building his leadership, and proving that he had what it took to make the jump to the NFL. We're talking about a guy who threw for over 6,000 yards in college, with 60-plus touchdowns to his name. Those aren't just numbers, they're a testament to his consistency, his resilience, and his ability to make game-changing plays under pressure. Even his dad, Deion Sanders, said it himself. Shedeur's the hardest worker in the room. He's there before anyone else and leaves after everyone else. You've got to love that attitude, especially in a league where that extra work is what separates the good from the great. And here's something the numbers don't always show: his command at the line. We're talking about a guy who's already making adjustments, calling out defenses, and shifting protections. For a rookie QB, that's massive. He's not just executing plays, he's controlling the offense, making reads, and proving that he has the kind of leadership Washington's been craving. And the fans? They're already sold. Social media is lighting up with posts about Shedeur Sanders as the future face of Washington football. Analysts are already calling him one of the most promising young QBs in the league. But let's get real. Can he sustain this level of play when defenses start picking up on his tendencies? If you've been following Sanders closely, you know he's got that rare combination of pocket awareness and athleticism. Watch him in those high-pressure moments. He's got that sixth sense for when to escape, when to run, and when to hold his ground. And that's exactly why he's so dangerous. You can blitz him, but you can't shake him. Now, let's compare him to some other rookie quarterbacks this season. His completion rate? It's among the best. His TD to interception ratio? Almost flawless. But here's what sends Sanders apart: his ability to balance those passing numbers with decision-making that protects the ball. He's not throwing wild shots downfield. He's making calculated plays. His head coach put it best, saying, "Shedeur doesn't just play the game, he dissects it." And that's exactly what we're seeing week after week. He's not just reacting to defenses, he's anticipating them, seeing the game unfold before it happens. That's a skill few rookies master. And Sanders? He's making it look easy. If he keeps this up, Sanders could end the season with over 4,500 passing yards and close to 30 touchdowns. Those aren't just good numbers. Those are all pro-caliber stats. If he stays on this path, we could be looking at a Rookie of the Year contender, maybe even a future Pro Bowler. But Shedeur's not the only rookie bringing heat this season. Up next, we're switching gears to a player who's dominating from the backfield: Saquon Barkley. This guy's running like a freight train, and defenses can't stop him. Stick around, because his story is just as epic. Alright, now it's time to talk about a player who's not just making a comeback, he's making a statement. Saquon Barkley. And if you're a fan of power running, if you're the kind of fan who loves seeing defenders get flattened, then you know exactly what Barkley is bringing to the field this season. Let's look at the numbers as of early November. Barkley's already racked up over 935 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns this season, averaging a solid 4.5 yards per carry. But you and I both know that stats don't do justice to his impact. The way he's running, it's got that old-school power-back vibe, mixed with the finesse and explosiveness we've come to expect from Barkley. And then there's that backward hurdle against the Jaguars. Most backs try to avoid contact. Barkley, he embraces it. He hurdles, spins, plows through, and keeps going. That play right there, if you missed it, you're missing one of the most explosive moves of the season. Let's break it down. The athleticism required to make that kind of move while running at full speed? It's insane. Barkley's control, balance, and vision set him apart. You're not just looking at a power back, you're looking at a player who blends raw power with elite agility. And that's what makes him such a nightmare for defenses. Now, this dominance didn't start in the NFL. If you followed him back at Penn State, you already know Barkley was a force to be reckoned with. He finished his college career with over 5,000 all-purpose yards and 51 touchdowns. Even then, he had this rare combination of strength, speed, and agility that you don't see in most backs. Barkley's been defying expectations since day one. Penn State fans knew he was something special, and when he declared for the draft, he wasn't just a prospect. He was a future star in the making. Fast forward to 2024, and here he is, back in top form, reminding everyone of exactly why he was such a big deal coming out of college. But it's not just his power, it's his ability to create big plays. Barkley doesn't just grind out 3 or 4 yards every down. This guy can turn a simple handoff into a 40-yard sprint, breaking tackles, and juking defenders like they're barely there. And let's not forget his vision. That's what's allowing him to spot gaps that most backs wouldn't even see. Now, for those who have followed Barkley closely, you know this season's success didn't come easy. After dealing with injuries in the past few years, Barkley's had to work to get back to 100%. His coaches have said he's one of the hardest workers they've ever seen. He put in the hours, the rehab, the extra training, and you're seeing the result of all that work on the field right now. And let's be honest, the fans are loving it. Social media is flooded with praise for Barkley's return to form. But here's what I want to know from you. Are we looking at a new chapter in Barkley's career, or just a glimpse of his prime? Is he set to become the best running back in the league again? If you stack him up against the other top backs right now, Barkley's yards per carry and touchdown rate put him at the top of the list. But it's his consistency, week after week, that's got people talking. This isn't just a flash-in-the-pan performance. Barkley is showing up every game, every down, and making it clear that he's back and better than ever. And here's something that gets overlooked a lot with Barkley: his intelligence. This guy isn't just running on pure instinct. He's reading defenses, making adjustments, and executing plays that require a deep understanding of the game. You're not just looking at raw talent, you're looking at a football mind that's operating at the highest level. If he keeps this pace, Barkley could be on track for a 1,500-plus yard season with 15 or more touchdowns. Those numbers? They're the kind that put you in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year, and with the way he's playing, that's not out of reach. But Barkley's not the only explosive player out there. Up next, we're looking at a running back who's been quietly racking up yards and making a name for himself this season: Kyren Williams. This guy may not have the same name recognition as Barkley, but trust me, he's got the game to back it up. Now let's talk about a player who might not be getting all the media hype, but is quietly emerging as one of the league's most exciting young running backs: Kyren Williams of the Los Angeles Rams. For those of you who really follow the game, you know that Williams is making serious waves. He's not just racking up yards, he's showing the kind of playmaking ability that can shift a team's entire offensive strategy. Let's start with the numbers. As of early November, Williams is putting up 644 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns and an impressive 4.6 yards per carry. Those are solid numbers for any back, but for Williams, they represent a breakout that's redefining his role within the Rams' offense. If you've watched Williams closely, you know he's not your standard 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of back. This guy is explosive. In his game against the Seahawks, he took what should have been a routine run, read his blockers perfectly, made one defender miss, and turned it into a 40-yard touchdown. That's Williams. He has this knack for taking ordinary plays and making them game-changer. Let's break down what makes this guy so dangerous: vision, speed, and precision. Williams doesn't just hit the hole hard. He's reading every details on the field, anticipating where defenders will be, and then using that burst to get into the open field. When you give him space, he's a nightmare to bring down. But this kind of running style isn't something new. Back at Notre Dame, Williams was already showing flashes of what he could become in the NFL. He put up over 2,100 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns in college, proving he had the potential to be more than just a role player. He's always been a back who blends quickness with power and intelligence. Even back then, Williams was known for his consistency and his ability to make plays when it counted. Now, in his second NFL season, he's bringing that same work ethic and football IQ to the pros, and it's paying off big time for the Rams. But let's not overlook his elusiveness. Williams has this incredible cut-and-go ability, which lets him slip by defenders in tight spaces. He's got a smoothness to his running style that's almost deceptive. He's not the biggest back out there, but he's so efficient with his movement that he rarely takes a direct hit. He's able to make people miss with subtle adjustments, and that's what's making him a consistent producer. And the fans are starting to notice. If you're watching the Rams fan base, there's a lot of excitement about Williams. People are saying he's the breakout player they didn't see coming, the guy who's stepping up and filling a much-needed role. What about you? Do you think Kyren Williams is the real deal or just having a hot streak? When you stack him up against other young backs, Williams' numbers hold up. He's not just putting up yards, he's putting up quality yards. His yards per carry are among the highest for backs with over 500 yards, and his ability to reach the end zone consistently makes him an invaluable asset to the Rams' offense. His coach recently said, "Williams is the kind of player who never stops working, never stops grinding. That's the highest compliment you can get in this league." He's showing up every day, putting in the effort, and proving to his team that he's someone they can rely on. And let's not forget his versatility. Williams isn't just about the run game. He's a strong blocker, picking up blitzes and protecting his quarterback. He's also dangerous as a receiving option, giving the Rams a back who can contribute in more ways than one. In today's NFL, where versatility is everything, That makes him even more valuable. If he keeps up this pace, Williams could end the season with over 1,200 rushing yards and close to 15 touchdowns. For a guy who wasn't in the spotlight at the start of the season, that's a breakout year by any measure. Those kinds of stats put him in the conversation for one of the best seasons by a Rams running back in recent years. But Kyren Williams isn't the only one making headlines for his big play potential. Next, we've got a player who's been a powerhouse on defense, disrupting offenses and proving that young talent isn't just limited to the offensive side of the ball. Get ready, because we're diving into the story of a defensive star who's changing the game. Now, let's switch gears and talk defense. While offensive stats often steal the spotlight, any true NFL fan knows that a rock-solid defense is what takes teams deep into the postseason. And this season, one young defender is proving he's the future of his franchise's defensive front. Will Anderson Jr. of the Houston Texans. Let's look at his numbers so far. Anderson's racked up 7.5 sacks, 18 QB hits, and 11 tackles for loss as of November. For a second-year player, these numbers are outstanding. He's not just fitting in, he's dominating. Anderson's game isn't just about raw power. It's about speed, precision, and timing. Watch how he sets up his moves. He's got this insane ability to explode off the line, read the blocker, and then slip inside for the sack. Against the Patriots last month, he disrupted their offense all game long, finishing with 2.5 sacks and multiple pressures. That's not just good for a young player, that's elite. Look at his hand movement, his speed, his positioning. He's constantly one step ahead of the blocker, and that's what makes him dangerous. Anderson isn't just relying on raw talent. He's developed a skill set that includes everything from swim moves to bull rushes, making him a nightmare for offensive linemen. Back at Alabama, Anderson was already showing he had the potential to be special. He was a two-time All-American with 34.5 sacks over his college career, numbers that had NFL scouts watching closely. In college, he was a force, someone who could change the momentum of a game in an instant, and now he's bringing that same energy to the NFL. It's no surprise that he was one of the most sought-after defensive prospects in recent years. He wasn't just a sack artist at Alabama. He was a complete defender. And with the Texans, he's been given the opportunity to grow into a role where he's becoming their defensive anchor. But Anderson's impact isn't just in sacks. His presence alone is disrupting offensive game plans. He's getting double-teamed, he's forcing QBs to get rid of the ball sooner than they want, and he's creating opportunities for the rest of his defense to capitalize. His ability to pressure the QB without getting the sack still affects the game, and any die-hard fan knows those plays are just as important. And fans are taking notice. Texans fans are already hyping Anderson as the cornerstone of their defense. They're seeing a player who's stepping up every game, becoming the kind of player you build a defense around. The big question here is, are we looking at the next great pass rusher? A name that'll be feared across the league for years to come? Stacking him up against the league's top pass rushers, Anderson's numbers hold their own. His sack total, tackles for loss, and QB hits put him in elite company. And remember, he's only in his second season. What we're seeing right now is just a preview of what he could accomplish. His coach has praised Anderson's commitment, saying he's one of the hardest working players on the roster. He's not just relying on his natural ability, he's putting in the work, the film study, and the practice time. That's the sign of a player who's not just here to make plays, he's here to be great. And let's talk about his intelligence. Anderson's not just rushing blindly. He's reading the offense, making adjustments, and communicating with his teammates. He's showing the kind of field awareness that typically takes years to develop. And that's what's making him such a valuable asset to Houston's defense. If Anderson continues at this pace, he could end the season with around 15 sacks and close to 25 quarterback hits. Those are Pro Bowl numbers, folks. If you're a Texans fan, you have every reason to be excited about this guy. He's not just good, he's a game changer. But Anderson's not the only young star making waves this season. Our final segment brings us to another standout player who's turning heads with his versatility and making plays all over the field. Stay tuned as we wrap up with one of the most dynamic young players of the year. All right, let's dive into our final player, Puka Nacua. If you've been following this season, you know that Nacua is turning heads as one of the most versatile and impactful young receivers in the league. This guy isn't just catching passes. He's a dynamic playmaker who's proving to be a game changer for the Los Angeles Rams. As of early November, Nacua has racked up 152 receiving yards, and he's leading the league in yards after catch, showing just how dangerous he is once the ball is in his hands. He's averaging around 14 yards per catch, a number that speaks to his big play ability and his knack for stretching the field. What sets Nacua apart is his field awareness and his ability to read defenses. Take his recent game against the 49ers, where he turned a 10-yard route into a 40-yard gain. He caught the ball, assessed the coverage, and made a quick cut that left defenders grasping at air. This guy isn't just following the playbook, he's reacting and adapting in real time. Look at his vision. He's always one step ahead, seeing lanes and anticipating the defense's next move. His balance and footwork are elite, and that allows him to break tackles and gain extra yards almost every time he touches the ball. For a young receiver, that's an invaluable skill set. Back at BYU, Nacua was known as a reliable, sure-handed receiver who could make big plays when it mattered. He finished his college career with over 1,500 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. Not the flashiest numbers, but he was a player who understood how to get open, make catches, and extend plays. And now, he's bringing that same skill and reliability to the pros. He wasn't the biggest prospect coming into the league, but he's showing everyone that he's got the skills and the football IQ to compete at the highest level. With the Rams, he's quickly found his role as one of the most reliable targets on the field, and it's only the beginning. But it's not just about the catches with Nacua. This guy is a complete player. He's blocking downfield, setting up his teammates, and doing the little things that often go unnoticed. You watch him throw blocks for his running backs, fight for extra yards, and it's clear he's got that all-in mentality. He's not just there for the stats, he's there to help his team win. And fans are noticing. Rams fans are buzzing about Nacua, calling him the breakout player of the season and the team's next big star. He's not just meeting expectations, he's blowing them out of the water. So what do you think? Are we looking at a future Pro Bowler here? When you stack Nacua's numbers up against some of the league's established stars, he's right there in the mix. His yards after catch and catch rate put him among the most efficient receivers this season. And this isn't just a hot streak. This is a player who's establishing himself as a consistent playmaker. His coach recently praised Nacua, calling him one of the most coachable players and saying he brings it every single practice. When you have a player with that kind of work ethic, combined with raw talent, it's not hard to see why he's making such an impact on game day. And let's talk about his football IQ. Nacua's not just running routes blindly. He's reading defenses, adjusting at the line, and communicating with his quarterback. That's something you usually see from seasoned veterans, not second-year players. His ability to understand and adapt is setting him up for a long and successful career. If he keeps this up, Nacua could finish the season with over 1,200 receiving yards and close to 10 touchdowns. For a player who came into the league with relatively low expectations, that's a breakout year. He's not just becoming a key player for the Rams, he's becoming a name to watch across the league. So there you have it. 6 rising stars who are making waves in the 2024 season and, in many ways, redefining what it means to be a young player in today's NFL. Each one brings something unique. From Jayden Daniels' clutch quarterbacking and Shedeur Sanders' precision, to Saquon Barkley's power and Kyren Williams' explosiveness. And let's not forget Will Anderson Jr. on defense, bringing the heat every snap, and Puka Nacua's versatility that's giving the Rams an edge on offense. These players are shaping the season in different ways, whether it's with game-changing plays, next-level athleticism, or just that drive to win. We're watching the future of the league unfold, right here and right now. And as we move closer to the playoffs and the 2025 Super Bowl, each of these players has the potential to make an even bigger impact. So, who's going to take it to the next level? Which of these players do you see becoming a superstar, and who do you think will have the biggest impact by season's end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see who's got the best predictions as we watch these stars continue to shine. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into these 6 incredible rising stars. But the story doesn't end here. While each of these players is delivering standout performances, the true impact goes beyond individual stats. It's about how they're transforming their teams, overcoming obstacles, and building momentum for the rest of the season. In our next video, we'll dive into just that. We'll explore how each of these players is shaping the dynamics of their team, the game-changing plays that prove their worth, and the challenges they'll need to overcome to keep pushing forward. Plus, we'll make bold predictions for their season outlook and bring in fan and media reactions to see how the buzz around these players is growing. So if you want to know more about the true impact these players are having and what's in store for the rest of the season, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. There's so much more to uncover, and we'll be right here bringing you the full story. See you in the next video on Sports Hyped. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Hyped for more in-depth NFL content, player profiles, and game analysis. We've got more exciting videos coming your way, so stay tuned, and as always, keep the hype going.